all about getting us the best protection. It's not a continuation of the worst. And the only way we at WBAI, at the Expert Witness radio show, can alert you as to what is going on is by bringing you facts, unassailable facts. And when you hear this, you'll recognize these facts as, man, oh man, something you cannot look away from. The questions raised on this show should be brought to the attention of your elected officials, our so-called protectors, and those media journalists who even might pay attention before it is once again too late. One way to do that is by copying this show right now, tape recording this show and sending it far and wide to anyone who might make a difference. If you can't do that, get on our website. This show, you can copy it off our site, expertwitnessradio.org, and please do your part. This is why WBAI listener-sponsored radio is on the air. Where else do you think you're going to hear this kind of information? Anyway, this is 99.5 FM in New York City, and the show is also being heard live over the internet at expertwitnessradio.org. Now, for 1 week, again, you can listen to this show free, copy it, send it far and wide. On the phone with me is a legendary Drug Enforcement Administration agent, DEA, Dennis Dale. If you listeners remember the book Underground Empire by Mills, the first New York Times nonfiction bestseller about the drug war, well, you'll recognize Dennis Dale's name. Dennis Dale worked in the Middle East. Dennis Dale was the father of a system of intelligence gathering that the first time in our history documented drug trafficking and terror. And this is back in the 70s when CIA wasn't even paying attention to terror. And Dennis, my friend, welcome back to this show.
Thank you for the welcome, Michael.
Well, you know, Dennis, some startling things have happened to me in the past couple of weeks that we're going to talk about in the show, which highlights the fact that the Drug Enforcement Administration, as effective as it's been, is being kept on the sidelines. And I think when people hear the show and the evidence that we're about to put on the air from a 60-minute show, you'll understand why DEA is not on the right on the front lines where it belongs. In fact, you know, let me first ask you about. Would you agree with my assessment that we as an agency, now Dennis and I have 25 years with the agency and Dennis has 27. We've both worked all over the world in intelligence gathering, running covert ops, successful ones, provably successful ones. Something both the FBI and Central Intelligence, I don't think, can show any examples that aren't kind of fraudulent. You know, the kind of stuff that they put on FBI files on, or Tom Clancy puts on, or that you see in the newspapers even nowadays. But I want your assessment as to the history, the record of the Drug Enforcement Administration, which you were part of.
As to the reason that it was omitted from...
No. When I say that we as an agency were provably the most effective in infiltrating clandestine organizations, that we were provably, as a matter of fact, in my recollection, back when the DEA first began in the early 70s, I think we had 1,500 agents in the world, and we were responsible for 40% of the population in federal prisons. Am I about right?
Well, yes, but my memory, and I'm sure yours as well, takes us far earlier than that. As a matter of fact, it had its roots in our military service during World War II, when there was a very active and a very successful contingent of our military personnel dedicated to collecting intelligence, and particularly tactical intelligence, that type of intelligence which is actionable, and out of that contingency was the birth of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. Many of the people who were in that military environment of collection of intelligence were charter members of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics.
Well, let's say that we've got a very proven history, and let's say that we can accept now, if you listen to the 9/11 commission hearings, I mean, every cop I know who watched came away stunned with the monstrous, really fraternity boy, Barney Fife ineptitude of both CIA and FBI. These guys just walk in and blew up the World Trade Center with everyone knowing they were coming, and every signal in the world. And on the other hand, every law enforcement agency worldwide with whom I and I believe you too have worked as supervisory agents, as foreign attachés, they've had nothing but enormous respect, if not fear, of the abilities of the Drug Enforcement Agency to do what had to be done to get the job done. Would you agree with that?
I think that the words respect and fear are very appropriate in the setting that we're discussing, Michael.
Right, and the problem is that Al-Qaeda has nothing but disrespect for FBI. If they're not laughing at our government right now, I would be very surprised. The only, in fact, in my experience, and the only aspect of DEA that was not head and shoulders more professionally effective in every aspect of covert international operations than both CIA and FBI combined was our public affairs offices. Our screw-ups became public record quickly, and as a result, we fixed the problems and got better and more effective in playing the game, in the arts of penetration, penetrating international clandestine organizations. No agency in history has been more demonstrably effective. So why, after this Keystone Cop debacle that is the story of 9/11, in this time of looming nuclear terror, is DEA now pointedly excluded from any meaningful role in the current mess that is our defense against terror? I don't know. Before I start playing 60 Minutes, can you give me your ideas as to why this is going on, Dennis? It's infuriating. It's frightening.
Well, again, the terms respect and fear come into it, and I speculate, and we can do nothing more than speculate at the moment.
Oh no! After you hear what I have on tape, I don't think we're going to speculate anymore. But look, that's awaiting our listeners. Go ahead, Dennis. What are your thoughts now?
I was going on to say that the future, after it becomes history, will give us a factual answer to the question as to why DEA was obviously deliberately omitted from the structure that we call our national defense.